You gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum, have faith or pandemonium's liable to walk upon the scene. Accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between.
My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. It would be my honor to come alongside you and help you to do the same thing. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.
Hey, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Miracles Online Podcast. This is a podcast about relationship, dating, marriage, and commitment. And we're so glad to have you today. I am Jeff, and this is...
I'm Kat.
And today we are taking our moniker of being the big bear and the little bear. Well, hers just says bear.
But I'm just a little bear.
So, Bear, what do we have for today's episode?
I'm so glad you asked.
I'm
Big
sure
Bear.
you did.
So welcome to episode 29. We are so honored that you're here. And today's episode is we're going to share with you 5 practical tips and transformations on the question, are we really arguing? And what are we arguing about? What's underneath? What are we really arguing about? And we're going to share with you 5 tips. I'm sure there's more. And share with us some solutions and tips that maybe you've done in your relationship, whether it's dating, long-term commitment, or marriage. So let's just dive right in, Jeff, to number 1.
Number 1 of the what? What are we really arguing about?
What are we really
I can already tell
about?
you. We're arguing because you're not seeing my side.
Oh, is there an ego involved here?
Or there's that, I'm right.
Oh, do we want to be right or do we want to be loved? I think we would all say we want to be loved.
So is that what number 1 says?
But sometimes our ego gets in the way, right?
So
we're kind of, I'm going to reel you back in because we're going to dive right into the number 1 tip, and that is to pause the pattern. We're calling it the micro moment of awareness. And what that means basically is before responding,
all right,
easy peasy, you need no tapes or equipment or biofeedback or anything. Just take a breath.
Okay.
So
do you want to do
that gives you the pause before responding. Take a breath. Because, arguments usually follow a script that we just put on autopilot, and we're spewing the knee-jerk reaction, or what I call the wild horse of the amygdala. And if you haven't heard that term, it's a part of the brain. It's can you pull up that graphic, Jeff? The
Wow, we
the
got to the
wild
picture
horse
already.
rider. Yes, right up
How about
from the
that?
beginning. So your amygdala is the wild horse, the one that just is on autopilot, old stories, old scripts. You're just continuing to repeat, the whatever negative scripts that you have done before.
Mhm.
And when you allow yourself and make the conscious awareness to pause for the cause, to take a deep breath,
Yeah.
that is your rider controlling that wild horse amygdala.
Wow.
And that's a beautiful part of your brain called the
Right.
prefrontal cortex. Now, many of you may have heard that the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed in the human brain until about the age of 25, give or take for different
Well,
individuals.
that explains a lot, doesn't it?
That explains a lot about our younger years, about teens, about the early 20s when we made, really bad judgments and erratic emotions. And boy, was that wild horse amygdala just going crazy, right?
Most likely, especially making decisions if I'm not developed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Lord knows how many times I've heard that 2 a.m. last call and then make stupid decisions.
Absolutely. So besides the breath, here's your action tip, okay?
All right.
Ask yourself in the moment, am I reacting to what is said or what it actually means to me personally in my own map of old scripts and old story? And that's where the pause is so important. Right? Because if we're just letting that horse go crazy,
that's right,
and there is no rider and they're going, whoa, boy, whoa, girl, let's take a pause.
That's right.
Let's review this.
Yeah, it's also that you can't just let the emotion, which is the horse, run rampant. So
that old amygdala.
Yeah, we get a supercharged when we got something that we really feel strongly about, and not necessarily always passionate about. It's just something we felt for the moment. I thought you were picking up the kids. I thought you paid the bill. Those things. I thought I could count on you. So those are, I can't say those are passionate. Those were just things that we
just knee-jerk reactions, right? Instead of taking a pause and going,
I thought you had the kids. Okay. You said you were. No, I didn't. Yes, you did.
Okay. And it escalates instead of surrendering to the moment. Yeah. And we surrender by being present, by being self-aware and taking that pause to go, okay, well, I misunderstood. Where do I need to go? Or when do I need to be there? Or what do I need to do? Come from knee-jerk, bantering to solution. And that's really what it's all about. We're only ever, as human beings, one thought away from a different life, from a different experience, from a different feeling, right? And I find that so amazing.
So what do you think that knee-jerk reaction comes from? I mean, is it just something that we're so accustomed to because we live in a society that's so fast-paced that everything is, a New York minute, we have to have it done now? Then all of a sudden we become short?
That's a good question, Jeff. And I think that is in part. Yeah. I think it's a two-part and could even be more complex than that. Number one, it's narratives, stories, scripts, programs that we've either observed in our past that are in our subconscious as a reaction that maybe, again, that we observed how we were brought up or how we saw other people respond. That coupled with today's, as you said, everything has to get done in a New York minute and fast, get it done, should have been done yesterday, et cetera, and so on. And that certainly can exacerbate that amygdala wild horse reaction because it and here's why the pause works. It interrupts the autopilot. Okay. And that's basically where we're coming from when we don't pause or think or have a second thought. Okay. We're just going on autopilot. Okay. And, that's so powerful. And all we need is the awareness and our breath. They go,
Yeah.
Okay. Here's
Tell
my
us
first
more,
thought.
Professor.
Here's my first thought. But guess what? I can make a second thought.
Yes. And this second thought usually is
It's
much
reflection.
more refined and
Much more
thought
refined.
through.
It comes from that prefrontal cortex that is reflective, that's going to reflect and analyze,
Mhm.
in a New York minute to go, no,
Yeah.
here's the situation. By bitching and moaning, it's not going to change the fact that I didn't pick up the kids.
Oh,
But if I accept and surrender to the isness of the moment,
right.
to the isness of what is, which is only now,
Yep.
now is gone, there's a new now,
Mhm.
then my prefrontal cortex can come up with a reasonable, sane, calm solution.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's what it is. We've established that.
Yes.
What's my next thought? What's my next action? Great, here's what I'll do. We really have to, I think, teach ourselves and our youth of today to be problem solvers.
Well, I know guys are trained that way. Guys are always, you got a problem, let me solve it. And a lot of times what I've learned in our marriage is you're not really looking for a solution, actually. You're just looking to vent, to say it out loud, to get over it.
And I think, I don't know, I could be sexist saying this. Would love to hear from you, the audience, but I think women have more of a propensity, because we are wired different emotionally, to want to vent, not necessarily being fixed. Now, I had a mentality as a young mother to, and I think maybe I was just wired for, I need to fix, I need to solve, I need to, I remember when my middle daughter was little, like an infant. Yeah, that little. And I really didn't want to hear her. She screamed quite loud when she was hungry. She was very guttural, very, instinct, like babies do when they're, but she didn't fuss. She just wailed when she was hungry. So I would get up super early. I'd put on the Gerber baby food in the heat warmer, make sure it was heated up before I thought she would wake up. And the minute she woke up, before she could practically go, I had a spoon of warm cereal in her mouth. So, I don't know. That's kind of a solution driven, right?
Well, here's the interesting part about the male and the female dynamic in the argument too, is that, like I said, guys tend to think from a problem solving knight in shining armor. You're expressing discontent or you're upset. Let me fix it. That isn't the case. They definitely know that now.
And I think that goes, like I said, I own that gene.
Well, everybody does.
Also, I think everybody does. Who's caring, and who doesn't want to see your loved ones suffer. If it's in your willpower, you want to feed them, you want to make them smile.
Well, to take the pain away.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that the male and the female dynamics during an argument is guys assimilate problems or issues in their mind, and they go, got it. And you're still venting. So you hear women a lot of times they go, let me finish.
Right.
Man, how many times I've heard that in my lifetime? If I had a nickel for each one, right? But the fact that I start to learn about that let me finish bit is that I'm not listening anymore because I've already preconceived a thought in my mind. I've already preconceived the solution to what we're arguing about.
And I think many people in general, beyond that, we're not active listeners. We're thinking of what we're going to say. And in the dynamic that you're talking about, it's okay. How can I fix this? How can I get her out of pain quickly? And you're not fully listening. So active listening is, it's critical.
Yeah. And then there's also the other point of, guys, I'll speak for me, and guys, raise your hand that you just don't like to be talked at.
Talked at?
Yeah. And sometimes it comes across. In other words, when you're venting and so forth, and you're saying, this is this and this is that, and it seems like you're just dumping, and we're taking it somewhat it's
personal.
like, why are you beating up on me?
You're taking it personal.
Well, no, well, not necessarily personal, like you're attacking me, but why are you beating on me on this? And a lot of it is just the power of the aggression. So it's just not really taking it personally. But the first thing in the thought process would be is, can you just please stop? Okay. How many times, guys, have you just went?
Can you say that with a little more passion?
Yeah. Can you just please?
I'm taking that personally.
I mean, that's in the brain.
Okay.
I'm just saying I never would say this because at that time everybody's like right hook, left jab. We're arguing. We're in this heated battle in a way. So in the sense of how do you stop this? And the brain is going, okay, this is not happening. This is not working for us. And it's turning 1,000 miles a minute. So that's why the thought of, okay, you're just, can you please stop? And so the thought then goes into your body, and their body is going, okay. And then, of course, the okay means stop. And the other side is going, what do you mean stop? I'm talking. Let me finish.
Okay. So thank you, exorcist. So everybody, and we need to move on to 2, but thank you so much for sharing that. But everybody needs to take a pause, both sides. That works for both sides. So we're going to move to number 2.
Dose.
Track your triggers. Know your heat points. And
what does that mean?
So everybody has emotional landmines, okay? Old wounds disguised as pet peeves, okay? You think they're pet peeves, but really they're unhealed wounds.
I don't like getting yelled at. Is that a pet peeve?
And what keeps them, coming up? No, nobody likes to be yelled at. Control, but sometimes that can be exaggerated because of unhealed
That's right.
wounds.
I was yelled at all through my childhood.
There you go.
I was yelled at by my teacher in 3rd grade, and I just didn't understand why.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that stayed with me.
So, and again, control, abandonment, being misunderstood, old patterns of being yelled at, et cetera, that can bring that up. Sure. So what the suggestion is, journal it when it comes up. And this works because it makes the patterns visible.
Okay. Journal it. What does that mean?
So when something comes up, you're going to be aware of it. You're going to practice your breathing, but then you want to assess it. Okay. And write it down. Okay. So,
really?
Absolutely.
So we're arguing and I'm getting mad and you're getting mad. We're getting heated. We're all, both of us is going to have to go, stop.
No. This is after the resolvement. Okay. Hopefully you've done the pause and the breathing, but then you want to, in a voice memo, or a note in your phone after particularly a recurring argument. This is where your analytical comes in and putting investment into your relationship. Are there any patterns? It seems like I keep getting triggered on this point. Right, and you and I, we won't go into details, but we've worked those out, obviously, through 27 years ago. Okay, this is a trigger when I do this. This is a trigger when he does that. Okay, and we'll talk it through.
I'm not aware we have any triggers. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
Well, we've figured the triggers. We figured out the triggers, and we navigate the landmines now. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, really, because none of us is perfect. Healing and self-awareness is an evolution. It's not an endpoint. It's an evolution, and you get better with time and with practice. But if you want to expedite it, practice a memo, a journal, particularly for, like I said, something that's repeating itself.
Right.
And it just keeps coming up, because that's when you can go, oh, okay, it looks like I'm connecting the dots here. Okay. And it's going to just illuminate for you for next time to go, okay, let's go around that landmine. That seems to be a trigger.
Okay.
And again, it works because patterns become visible when you receive them over time, not in the heat of the moment, but over time, and you can evaluate them. So let's go to tip number 3. Decode the emotion beneath the words. So most arguments I would say many. Now, some are just surface, but many are not about the topic itself. Okay. They're about the feeling underneath. And I think that's really in life, right? We make decisions. Oftentimes we think it's analytical and it's about numbers or it's about this and it's about that, but it's really about emotions. It's about the feeling underneath.
Okay.
So action tip would be ask each other, what is the need behind what you're saying right now? Now, for every argument, that may not be appropriate, but a simpler way would be, or what do you want me most to understand, Jeff, right now? So you're stopping that back and forth, that argument that you're getting nowhere, and saying, what is it that you most want me to understand right now? It forces your partner to really think about, right? Really think about what's behind the argument. Like, you know what? And you go, this is really silly, because really I just want you to understand this or that.
Right.
And it's much more surface than deep seated than you even imagined. This bypasses blame. Okay. And it invites empathy and a shared truth between you.
Well, blame sometimes is
really, you're going to go down that road. It's a good thing. It makes me feel good.
No, it's just I'm not wrong.
And
that's the key thing right there too in your argument. If you're going to take a stronghold of I'm not wrong and keep that in a firm grasp and not listen after that thought. That's the key. What I'm saying to the audience here is that you're defeating the purpose of resolving the argument if you're holding on to I'm not wrong.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, it made me think of my decades of excellent sales training back in corporate America.
Yeah.
And I think it's similar to objections. Obviously you've got a lot of training on handling objections. How do you handle objections and win over, a multi-million-dollar sale? And part of that, it's the psychology of selling. It's the psychology and dynamics of relationships. So what would that look like? And I did a lot of role play in my career in corporate America.
Right.
And it would look like something like this. So, Jeff, if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is that you understood it was me that I was supposed to pick up the kids. Is that correct?
You darn tootin' right.
Okay.
Because you said you were.
I said I was. Okay. So what is it? This is going to sound a little funny, but you're going to get the idea with the role play. So what is it about me not picking up the kids that you're not comfortable with?
I'm extremely not comfortable with that the kids are not here. And then on top of that, you're blaming me, saying that I was responsible for it, when we both know that the decision made this morning was that I was going to cook dinner and you were going to pick up the kids.
Okay. So what you're saying is,
you're cutting into my cooking. You're ruining my day. You're destroying my so-called plan that I had. And then you want to tell me that I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm wrong.
And I certainly can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
And let's fix it.
Okay.
I'll pick up the kids.
Of course you will.
Stop being so egomaniacal. So maybe this one doesn't fit so well.
No,
with
but
just picking up the kids. But you get what I'm saying. You want to, by repeating what your significant other issue is.
Yeah.
It shows them that you're listening.
Yeah. Why are they upset over? What is the upset over? Actually?
Yeah. And then it's, what is it about? Because I want to tell you, sometimes something comes up that you would have never uncovered. Well, really, and that you didn't know about. Well, to be honest with you, Kat, by you not picking up the kids, come up with something obscure.
By you not picking up the kids, you absolutely destroy all trust I have in our relationship.
Oh, that's just,
of course not.
That's not true. But
right.
No, but you might have come up with something that you had scheduled that I knew nothing about.
Yeah, but these are, let's just take a pause here on this whole argument thing. We're going back and forth in regards to that we're trying to justify the whatever the situation is, right? And the emotion that fuels behind that situation. So the point is, well, we're two individuals having our own perspectives toward this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And did that situation on our perspective just simply did not line up? Or did one of us simply disregard what we committed to in the situation? I think that needs to be identified in our arguments is, what are you arguing about?
Okay. And we all know there's 50 million ways and things to argue about. So maybe this isn't the best example. I think the bottom line, Jeff, is that you want to facilitate a way to diffuse. That's with the rest and pause, the reflect by looking at, are there any patterns? Okay. And communicating to your significant other that you see them, because everyone wants to be seen. I see you and I see that you're upset, and I apologize for that. So let's come to a solution. That's really, from there you can argue till the cows come home.
Right.
But the other, your partner wants to see that you understand them, that you see them, that you have compassion for them. No one's perfect. Your significant other's not perfect. What do they say? He who is perfect cast the first stone. No one is, except for God. So
the other aspect of this argument thing is that don't let it get to you where you go dark, meaning that now all of a sudden you're on the defensive, and then you become really ugly and become the attacker and using things that is totally irrelevant. And I know the guys often said that women would remember things from like 16 years ago, on a Friday night, and then they will bring it up at that opportune moment and goes, well, the reason why I don't trust you is because of.
And that could be a whole nother episode. You've heard me describe before, putting it in the duffel, the big full duffel that gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and you're dragging it around and dragging it around. That's a whole nother topic of discussion, where being current with your emotional status. And if you're swallowing things, you're not saying things, it's going to come out like, squeezing on a toothpaste tube. The cap might pop, but holes will pop out the side and things will pop out each way. It will come out in a very irrelevant time, because you haven't dealt with it in real time.
Right.
So let's move on, Jeff. That was some great discussion there. Let's move on to tip number 4, and that is the 30% rule for responsibility. So it takes two, right? As we mentioned, it takes two. No one's perfect. Rarely is one person 100% right. Rarely. That's very rare. Okay. And so the action tip that we're going to share with you is to ask yourself, what 30% of this situation might be mine? It's just 30%. You're not saying, oh, it's all my fault, it's all your fault, okay? And the reason this works is it allows accountability without self-blame, and it de-escalates the defensiveness. When you can say, you know what, let me look at where I could have done better, communicated better, acted better, etc. Because again, it takes two. In any argument, and no one's perfect.
Well, that's true. However, the dynamic that in my immediate family from my parents is that their arguments almost always one-sided. And when I say by that means that when there's something that goes and they go into a disagreement, one side shuts down. And then the other side is fighting for the argument on their own to justify whatever was not agreed upon. And the other person just decides to play freeze out. So that's another thing do not do, is sit there and disengage if you start and you have a disagreement in an argument. Is then once you're heated and it's like, you know what, I don't need this.
So that's a big difference. Yeah, that's a big difference than taking a pause. Taking a pause, right? It. Yeah, you don't want to just isolate. And there's an old term, either isolate or insulate, but isolating can be, it's an act of immaturity. It can bring up old wounds for the other partner, and it doesn't foster any kind of connection between you. So rather than do that, if you are one that's your first response to want to just leave the situation, isolate from the situation, instead of do the pause, take a breath, and come back to it.
If anything, if you do that, you're actually digging a deeper hole from that argument, and you're destroying any kind of a foundation of trust even deeper by committing those kind of freeze out acts while you have confrontation. So definitely keep in mind.
Absolutely. It will dig a trench of disconnectedness, and that's certainly not what you want. But to reemphasize 4, you try using the 30% rule for responsibility. This works especially for the personalities that are, very ego driven, which we all have egos, but that seems to be their first defense is I'm right, no matter what. Take a step back, take a breath, and go, okay, what microcosm percentage of this could I take responsibility for? And you will see how that just softens you into really a realistic humanistic relationship to where you're taking responsibility, even if it's a small amount. You're taking responsibility and being accountable, and it will take the defense down from your significant other when you go,
that's why we
let me look at this. Let me look and see where maybe I could have done something a little bit different. And
to stop and
escalating
kind of, to definitely to end the argument. Everybody needs to understand that.
And that's not a cop-out. It's not just to end it. That's not like walking out of the room.
Well, it's a resolution.
But it's a resolution. Exactly. Absolutely. So coming to number 5, tip, preload safety signals. So most
crying, would that be a signal?
Crying? Yeah.
Stop yelling at me.
So now we're going to get a little bit into the emotional.
We're getting down time. So.
Emotional, and we'll run through this quickly. Most conflict is just 2 nervous systems trying to feel safe. Your subconscious is always trying to keep you safe. It doesn't always do it the right way. It's sometimes, replaying old scripts, limiting beliefs, but it is trying to keep you safe. So here's your action tip. Establish a phrase. I like this, Jeff. Let's call a timeout and come back in 10 minutes with soft eyes for each other. Okay. Why does this work? You create a new routine for rupture and repair, keeping connection prioritized over what? Being right.
That's right. Connection
over being right. And that's really what it's all about. So I love that, having a preloaded safety signal. And we haven't had an argument in a long time, but we'll have to think about it.
You know why we don't argue? Seriously, do you know why we don't argue?
Why?
Because we think before we speak about things now.
And we
especially things that we know may cause some kind of an emotional uprising.
Right. So we do the pre-pause. We pause before it gets into needing a pause. So and it's doable.
And then some of the things that we argue about in the old days, we don't even touch. I don't even touch. Like, for instance, if she does something continuously over and over, and I know it just becomes a pet peeve, and why does she keep on doing this after so many times I told her not to do it? You know what? I just stopped letting it bother me anymore. So therefore, there's no argument, because you know what? Obviously, I'm not here to change her.
Right.
I can only ask for this. But if she's not doing it because obviously she may be preoccupied or just doesn't seem as important to her. So I have to recheck and say, why is it so important to me?
Yes, that's an excellent point, Jeff. And I've done the same thing. We can pick each other apart to the, daily, moment by moment, because no one's perfect. We get on edge, and the things that we used to love about someone now bothers us. And that's just resetting and changing our mind frame, like you mentioned, Jeff. So we're running a little over. I want to share a very short poem.
Hold on, before we go to the poem.
Oh, okay.
Well, you got to show everybody. You have a wonderful book. Buy the book. See, did I do that right?
He said, buy the book. so we can keep giving you wonderful episodes. And let us know what topics you'd like us to talk about.
Right.
This is a quick read. It's less than $10. We're going to have some promotions coming up pretty soon, but buy the book today. Buy it for a friend, buy it for yourself.
Yeah.
If you're single, widowed, divorced, know anyone who is looking for love, the internet and online is just, it's an incredible field to really navigate and find your true love, which is how we met. Right.
And then, excuse me, we're starting our Miracles Online podcast Rumble channel. All the stuff that's been aired on Red Pill Projects and redpills.tv is going to port over. So we're about 10 episodes apart always. So all the new stuff was coming through on redpills.tv, on Red Pills Media, decentralized media channel. And with that, don't forget, if you're on Rumble, you need to like and subscribe. That helps us, our algorithms, as well as supports us. Don't forget to share, because we want to help everybody. And we hope that things we're doing is helping you and your loved ones to take a pause and not be so mean to each other.
Mean to each other. Well, and know what's behind the arguing. What's the emotion behind the words in arguing? Right. And with that,
here's your poem.
Okay. And did we do Yahoo Publishing?
Then we're gonna we did the thing, and you can see on the bottom that the tickler is telling you about Yahoo Publishing. Okay. Awesome. And then you do your poem, and then we'll thank our sponsor.
Okay. So what we're really saying, for the ones who love beneath the words, we're not really fighting about dishes or tone of voice. We're asking, will you leave me? Am I alone? It's not just the silence, the sigh, or the shout. It's the ache of old stories, maybe still acting out. Behind every jab, a soft voice pleads, will you hold my hurt? Will you see my needs? So next time we bristle, let's both look within. Maybe this time, connection will win.
Yeah, that's sweet. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Blessings to everyone. We hope this episode really helps you to kind of understand about how to handle your next argument. And hopefully that argument comes out to be favored for both of you and to have a better understanding of each other.
Yes, absolutely. And a deeper connection. And
then learn and basically put another so-called notch in the belt in regards to now look what we've understood about each other again. And then love goes deeper. So thank you so much again. And then we're going to thank our sponsor, Kingdom Mindset Strategies. And they're going to take us out, and we'll see you on the next Miracles Online. To my little beer. Right?
Well done. You've done something that most people only ever dream about. You've started and kept a business alive. And that's a huge achievement, and one you should be proud of. Now, I want to help you make that business unbreakable. My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. And what I've learned is building an unbreakable business often requires similar ingredients: clear financial insights, well-built systems, streamlined growth strategies, and optimized operations. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.